It's the same game every week. And well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Watch2K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. So the Jets, what else can you say? Beaten again for the fifth straight game. They have dropped to 4-8. They lose to the Atlanta Falcons by a score of 13-8 in just a rainy, dreary MetLife Stadium. Met Death Stadium is what it really feels like at this point. I don't know why, but I just had this weird feeling the offense would look a little bit better this week. Inserting some pieces, some starters back into the offensive line. I figured at some point they would bust a big play on an Atlanta defense that is not that good. And I will say this, I'm not going to blame Nathaniel Hackett for this game. They tried some creative plays. They tried throwing the ball down the field. You saw a flea flicker. You saw a reverse. They did try some different things. But the quarterback play was beyond inept. I have seen high school quarterbacks that could run this offense better than timboyle, than trevorsiemian. I mean, they would throw an occasional decent pass here and there, but open receivers not even being seen. Just inaccurate passes, just absolutely infuriating. But when it comes to the big picture, it is the same problems for the New York Jets every game. Third downs, penalties, giveaways. Those are the three things. Now, first with the penalties. This team took 11 penalties today, and those are just the ones that were accepted, by the way. For the season, the Jets now have 101 penalties for the year. Only Seattle and Dallas have been called for more. And I'm actually going to run through every single game this year, and I'm going to tell you how many penalties the Jets took in each game. First game against Buffalo, they only took 2. Second game, they took 5. The third game, they took 3. First 3 weeks, not so bad. Then it starts to get crazy. Against Kansas City, they took 7. Then they take 9. Then 9 again. Then 9 again. Then 8, 5, 6, and today 11. A season high 11 penalties. I mean, it is getting worse. It really feels it is getting worse by the week. Now, this wasn't the most penalty yards they've had, but it was everything. Offense, defense, special teams, all of them fail with their discipline. Now, let's talk about third downs. Now, I have made it a point many times on this channel that it is not just failing on third down, because when you aren't moving the ball on first down, when you aren't moving the ball on second down, it makes it that much harder to convert the third down. Now, they went 2 for 15 today. They are well on their way to being the worst third down offense in the history of the NFL, certainly in the last 50 years when this stat was being tracked. But let me just mention very quickly all 15 third downs and the yardage they had to get to convert the first down. All right? First third down was 11 yards. Then 4 yards. They converted that one. 12 yards. 5 yards. 6 yards. They converted that one. 6 yards. 5 yards. 7 yards. 3, 16, 15, 15, 10, 20, and 10. There are only, of those 15 third downs, only 2 are less than 5 yards. On average, that's 9.7 yards to go per third down. No wonder it's failing. It's not a third down problem. It's the entire time they're on the field problem. And watch it, oh my gosh, and the giveaways. Watching that timboyle interception. Did he think Jessiebates was suddenly playing wide receiver for the Jets? Oh my gosh, where was he throwing that ball? This offense has 10 touchdowns in 12 games. The last team to do that was the 1993 Bengals. 30 years ago, a team that went 3-13. The Jets threw for 197 net yards in the game, yet in the first half, in the Cleveland versus Rams game, Joe Flacco, just signed and promoted, had 156 passing yards for the Browns at halftime. And what's frustrating with the offense, guys, there are pieces. Breecehall, garrettwilson, Ty Conklin, Xavier Gipson showing signs of becoming a good wide receiver in the NFL. But Breecehall, he never gets a chance to run anywhere. He gets the ball and immediately there are 2 defenders in his face every time. 13 runs today for 16 yards. Garrett Wilson was running open time after time. Good job by Fox for actually showing replays of it. We got so frustrated with Zach Wilson over the last 2 months for not recognizing Garrett Wilson was running open. Timboyle was doing the same damn thing today. Either Boyle didn't see him or Boyle didn't have the confidence that he could deliver the ball down the field. It's one or the other. It's one or the other. It's gotten to the point where it just hurts to watch the New York Jets attempt to play offense. Every 3rd and 15, you expect the third down, you expect the 3-yard check down pass. Every first down, you expect a run up the middle where Breece falls forward for 2 yards. By the way, why is Israel Abanikanda not seeing the field? You cut Michael Carter to give him a chance, and now you can't even give him a chance to take advantage of his speed? This offense, I would say it's like watching paint dry, but that would be an insult to paint because at least paint has a useful function. But I do want to say with the defense, and then we'll get into some stats, and then the 3 key plays from the game you may not recall. And I also want to talk about the quarterback situation going forward. I want to say with the defense, I want to give them some praise. JermaineJohnson looked good. 2 tackles for a loss, 1.5 sacks, 3 quarterback hits, came back from getting hurt. Give him a lot of credit. I thought djreed had a very good game. The officials just wouldn't let you know it, calling an absolutely absurd illegal contact penalty and taking away his interception because of a penalty. The officials, I thought, did an absolutely horrific job today. Horrific job, but it still comes back to a lack of discipline by the Jets still. I can't blame everything on the officials, and we'll get into that in a moment. A couple of stats to point out real quick. Stat-wise, this was pretty competitive. In the first downs, Atlanta had 15, the Jets 14. Total plays, Atlanta had 64, the Jets had 67. Total yards, Atlanta 194, the Jets 259. Time of possession was only about a 1-minute difference. Third downs, though, this is where it starts to get ugly. Atlanta 4 for 14, the Jets 2 for 15. Penalties, Atlanta 6 for 55 yards, the Jets 11 for 71 yards. And turnovers, Atlanta was 0, although they really should have had 1. But like we said, djreed's interception got taken away, and the Jets turned the football over 3 times. And those 3 things are the reason the Jets lost this game, along with crappy quarterback play. But let's get into the 3 key plays you may not recall that affected the outcome of the game. All right, the first play is when there's 3:54 to go in the first quarter. The Jets have the ball, and they've got a little bit of a drive going. They've started at their own 9-yard line, and they've had 3 first downs. Now they're facing a 2nd and 10 at the Atlanta 41. By the way, on first down, the play prior to this, Allen Lazard did get his only target of the day, and that was enough. 1 target to Allen Lazard. I didn't need to see it again. Please, Allen, stop disrespecting the great Chad Pennington by wearing his number 10. You are besmirching number 10. Give it back, because you don't deserve to wear number 10. Now on 2nd down and 10, the Jets need some yards for a manageable 3rd down like we've talked about. Plus, you're getting very close to field goal range with Greg Zuerlein's kicking ability. Breecehall runs right and is stopped by Bud Dupree for a loss of 2 yards. Next play, Timboyle gets sacked, and the Jets have to punt. Now, I know right after this play they got the safety. I understand that, but 3 points is better than 2, and 7 points would be a whole lot better than 2. Play number 2. Now, I'm going to cheat a little bit. This is a back-to-back situation, but there's a reason why I'm doing it. The Jets' first drive of the second half, they're down 10-5 at this point, and it's been a heck of a drive. Garrett Wilson made the deep catch for 31 yards. The Jets convert a 4th down on the 9-yard pass to Garrett. By the way, the Jets are actually pretty good on 4th down. I don't know if they have the exact numbers, but they do seem to convert 4th downs most of the time. Unless, of course, the game is on the line, but that aside. So the quarterbacks can see that Garrett Wilson exists, so that was encouraging. So it's now 1st and 10 at the Atlanta 28, and I'm feeling pretty good. Down by only 5 points. They're starting to move the ball a little bit, but before they can snap the ball, wait, there's a flag. Joetippmann, false start, or if you're watching the Fox broadcast, Xavier Newman. Somehow Fox thought the false start was on a player who had been cut earlier this week. So now it's 1st and 15. All right, snap the ball. Got to get some yards back. Up. Another false start, this time on Mekhibecton, and it's 1st and 20. The drive stalls. The Jets settle for a field goal. They would never score again. As a matter of fact, the Jets never got past the Atlanta 48-yard line again. And this is what, now I'm not here to advocate that the head coach has to be fired. I'm not going to do that. I would like to see him get a year with a quarterback who is at least competent. But if you want to make an argument for it happening, this is what, it's not about the sideline demeanor. I don't care about that. It's not about the press conferences. That's irrelevant to me. It is about the lack of discipline that his players exhibit every single week, and they're not learning. You're having two false starts in a row at home, and you basically kill the drive. Play number 3, 5:45 to go in the third quarter. This is the next drive of the game. Atlanta has the ball. They are driving on the Jets. They've converted 2 third downs. Shockingly, the Jets did not take a penalty on this drive. But it is now 2nd and 7 at the Jets 33, and the Jets really have to hold Atlanta here. Okay? You get any closer, it's all but a layup for a Young Ho Koo, the Falcons kicker. Because we know if the Jets are down by more than a field goal, they're in some pretty decent trouble. And Desmondridder on 2nd and 7 finds Jonnusmith for 9 yards to get down to the Jets 24. The drive would go no further, but now it was a 41 or 42-yard field goal as opposed to a 52-yard field goal on wet turf. And there you go, the Jets are down by 5. And as we've said, they would never come close to scoring again. All right, well, as far as the standings go, the Jets are currently 7th in the draft order. This is before the conclusion of the late games. There are 4 teams at 4 and 8. You have Chicago and the Giants, who are ahead of the Jets. The Jets are ahead of Tennessee. But here's the thing. The Jets, their strength of schedule, because that's the tiebreaker, the easier schedule you have, the better draft pick you get. The Giants have a 5-15 strength of schedule. The Jets are at 5-20, very, very close. And also remember, the Giants have 2 games left with the Philadelphia Eagles. In fact, the Giants have one of the 3 or 4 hardest schedules remaining. The Jets will almost certainly pass them based off strength of schedule, as long as they finish tied with wins. So keep that in mind. And also, Washington has 4 wins, but they're 4-9. They have the extra loss. Their bye is next week. So after the schedule plays out for this week, we'll break this down more on the Wednesday night live show at 10 p.m., where we'll get into a little bit more depth on Tankathon. Now, as far as going forward, last thing I want to talk about, the quarterback situation. Here's what I would do. Next week against Houston, keep in mind there is no great solution here. Timboyle, to me, is unplayable. Zachwilson is just very frustrating because he has the capability. He just doesn't live anywhere near to his potential. Timboyle is what he is. He is just downright terrible. But I would give trevorsiemian a start. I would let Siemian play the Houston game, have Zach as the backup. But I think Siemian deserves one full game. If he becomes completely unplayable, fine. You can replace him with Zach Wilson. But you know what? I can't bear to watch Timboyle play another game. I just can't. He can only do so much. At least Siemian has won games. At least Wilson has won games. Boyle is just not an NFL quarterback. I'm sorry. I'm sure he's a lovely man, but I don't ever need to see him play quarterback. Well, those are my thoughts on today's just... I can't even get mad anymore. I know I've raised my voice a couple times, but what else do you expect as a Jets fan at this point? Just the same game. Very good special teams, very good defense that held out as long as they could, and an offense that is... you can't even call it an offense, just a complete dysfunctional mess. If it's not the offensive line, it's the quarterback. If it's not the quarterback, it's drop passes. If it's not drop passes, it's terrible play calling. The Jets need to have everything working to even resemble an okay offense, and they are just nowhere near that. And you tell me how it's getting any better the rest of the season, because I really don't know. If the rest of the offensive line were to come back, maybe that would help a little bit, but... it's you think they'll score a touchdown again? I don't even know. I don't even know. All right, guys. Well, that's all I got for you today. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I'll see you right back here with more content from you-know-where. The Wicker Chair.